So something huge, something big is happening in the Nigerian stock market this year. And so what is it? Well, it's a wealth creation opportunity. You're asking about investment, and this is the video that you want to listen to. Now, Alhaji Aliko Dangote is preparing to list a 20 billion USD company on the Nigerian stock exchange market. That's huge. And you ask me, so what's my business with that? Well, don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So what am I saying? I mean, Alhaji Aliko is saying, you know what? I want to list part of my 20 billion USD refinery company on the Nigerian stock exchange market. So he's planning to list around 5 to 10% of that 20 billion company on the Nigerian stock exchange market. That's like around 2 billion, let's say maximum. And if things happen and that valuation increases, then it means even more valuation and more worth for whatever investments you put into it. So yeah, he's planning to list part of his company, the largest refinery in Africa, on the Nigerian stock exchange market. Yeah, this is really giving, some very good vibes. All right, you're asking, so Buki, what does that mean for me? Well, what he's trying to do is to do an IPO. The question is, so what is an IPO? An IPO is a case whereby, companies decide to open their door of the ownership of their company to the public. So retail people, regular people like you and I can subscribe, and then we invest and then we become part of the company. So that is an IPO. So this is what Alhaji Aliko is trying to do, make it, public, but just a portion of the 20 billion USD company. All right, I'm hearing you saying, oh, tell me more about it. Well, before I go deeper into that, let's do a quick recap. Last year, remember, the Nigerian Central Bank of Nigeria had requested that the banks in Nigeria improve their capitalization. Well, the banks went into the market and raised more capital. And guys, the banks raised over 3 trillion naira from the public, like from investors, which means that the investment sentiment is high currently in Nigeria. And in fact, I read that some of those banks were oversubscribed. For example, Fidelity Bank was oversubscribed by almost 239%. You know what that means? It means people are really willing to, to invest. They are willing to invest. And that shows that, okay, there is a good prospect in those companies. I mean, that's for last year. But now this year, it's like this is going to even get bigger. So if you're in the diaspora and you're saying, oh, there's no way to invest in Nigeria, and this is an opportunity for you to invest in Nigeria. And the thing is that you're going to invest in Naira, you're going to buy the shares in Naira. However, wait for it, you're going to get your dividend in dollars. Exactly. I was also wowed when I read it. Yeah, and you're asking, so how does Aliko intend to fund the dollar, the dollar dividend? Well, it's because currently the company makes around almost $6.9 billion in terms of revenue coming in for them. And because they do a lot of exports, so yeah, they will be able to fund that revenue coming. They will be able to fund that dividend. So don't worry, if he says you're going to get dividends in dollars, you're going to get it. And the thing about it is that Aliko has been really consistent across his other companies. He has been really consistent with, with his dividend payment. If it's payment, you can, his companies have been reliable enough to be able to pay good dividends to his investors. So yeah, again, if you're in the diaspora, this is an opportunity for you to say, okay, I want to be part of this and, start to create wealth for yourself and also for your family. Now, the thing about IPO is that, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages. I'm sure you should be asking me, so when is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? What do I need to do? How do I need to prepare myself, to be part of this wealth creation and investment opportunity? Well, he said, in 5 months. So, there are speculations around maybe in July, probably July, June, August, that area. So those are the speculations that we are having. So yeah. And then what you need to do is then you need to prepare yourself towards this. And how do you do that? You need to first have, open a brokerage account, right? With, there are so many companies out there who are good, who do, brokerage accounts, who are brokers. But make sure that those brokerage accounts or those brokers are listed with the NGX, right? Nigerian Stock Exchange Board. So make sure that they are certified ones. And, I've been using Morgan Capital for a while. There's Meristem, there's Dangote, a lot of them. So I have a brokerage account, and when you have a brokerage account, normally your account would then also help you apply for a CS number, right? Because when the IPO goes live, how you do it, that a bank, you normally get it in that you get the form to apply. You get the form to apply for the IPO from a bank. So how do you, participate in this IPO? The first thing you need to be aware of is that when the time is right, when the IPO is ready, it will be, you could access it at the banks. You get a form from the bank. Of course, not every bank, but the banks that actually that will be commissioned to sell the IPO. You get a form from the bank, subscribe to it by applying, paying the amount, and saying this is the amount of shares I would like to buy. That's how you actually access such. But the first thing that you need to do, because when you're filling the form, you need a CSCS number. And I mean, even if you don't have the CSCS number while you're applying for making the subscription, you can they would assign you a CSCS number once they allot you, a certain amount, a certain number of the shares. So, but probably to get yourself prepared, what you should do is, get yourself registered with a broker available in the market. Make your research well. Make sure that, okay, the broker you're getting involved with, or the broker you are registering with, is, recognized by the NGX and also by SEC and by CBN. It's approved. Don't go to a broker that is not approved and then they abscond with your money. All right. So when you register with a broker and they open a brokerage account for you, they will normally also help you apply for your CSCS number. So when the time is ripe and then the IPO is live, you can apply through the bank and fill in your forms and also put in your CSCS number so that, your stocks can be assigned to you directly into your CSCS account and your number. All right. So that is what you need to do. The second thing you need to do is you actually prepare to buy, which means you need to start putting money aside now, right? Because I can tell you that it's not good. I don't think it will come cheap, right? Because I heard that he's also, planning to probably also list in the UK, right? It's also, all of this is just from research, but I do not think it is going to be cheap, right? And as of yesterday, when I looked at one of the highest energy company or oil and gas company listed on this Nigerian Stock Exchange, they are close to almost 10,000. So I believe, that probably that will be higher. It will be, at least for 1 unit of that stock, it will be higher. I mean, for a $20 billion company. Yeah. So it will not come cheap. So but don't be scared. Even if it's just 10,000 naira or 100,000 naira every month you want to set aside for this big project, please do so. Set it aside and prepare yourself so that when the time is right, you can apply for the shares and then they can allot you. Sometimes companies do they get over subscription. That is, sometimes you can apply for 100 and then they say, based on whatever we've done, you can only get 50. And then they'll assign you 50 shares, and then the balance of the money you've paid, which is, for the other 50, you get it back. So whenever subscription happens, you get your money back refunded to you. Anyway, so those are the things you need to be aware of. The other thing is that, one thing I want to quickly share with you is that, you should be asking yourself, so why is this important for me? Well, if you're thinking about, wealth creation, this is a pathway towards wealth creation. If you're thinking about, transparency, I don't want to invest in companies that I don't know what they are doing. This one, because it's a publicly listed company now, they'll be transparent. You can see what's going on and you can really follow your money. So, this is something. The other thing is that, if you're looking for dividend paying stock, like I said, based on past history, and don't forget, past history does not indicate future outcomes, right? So based on this past history of his other companies, he has been doing really well in terms of paying dividends. So hopefully once you, hold him to the same standard, right? To the same standard of saying, okay, if he has done that before in his other companies, probably he's going to do this as well, right? So he's probably also going to pay dividend. And I think this is one of the catch for people saying, dividend in dollars, especially for outside people are not Nigerians who are interested in investing in the company. I think that's something for them to actually consider. So yeah, I think you would do well with his word of paying in dollars for that particular project. All right. So that is one thing that I would like to discuss with you today in terms of, IPOs in Nigeria, wealth creation opportunity. If you think this is something that you'll be doing, if you think you need more information about how this should go or how you can prepare, please let me know in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, share with your friends, and, don't hold the information to yourself alone. Spread the news around. Alhaji Aliko is ready to make people's life even more easier with this IPO thing happening soon. So come back to the other videos, and next week I'm going to share another investment opportunity for you that you need to consider as a Nigerian or an African in diaspora back home in Nigeria. Until then, I will see you later. Thank you.